Hello everyone, Potato Peeker here, and in this episode we're going to talk about the mercenary changes for the 2.44 now live patch. Most of these changes were in the PTR. Any changes that were not previously in a PTR will be highlighted in blue. So hiring a mercenary in expansion mode will now always offer mercenaries that match your character's level, instead of having a random level difference from your character's level. This is really nice. It was really annoying, going to pick out a mercenary, looking at the list and having a wide range, going, I want, this type. Oh, but they're 4 levels lower than I am. Act 1 Rogue Archer. This part will apply to all of them. I don't know why they just stuck it under each one, but updated each stat, skill, gang in each difficulty to match so that there is no longer a disadvantage of leveling up a hell difficulty mercenary versus a normal difficulty mercenary. So this applies to all the mercenary types, not just the Act 1 Rogue. She can now use Amazon bows. It can now gang plus Amazon skill bonuses from gear. Cold arrow added freezing arrow. Fire arrow added explosion arrow. The Rogue Archer is getting a new flavored range skill that will scale as she levels up. These new skills should improve her AoE, area of effect, damage effectiveness, and thus make her a more effective ranged damage dealer. The unfortunate thing, this is a level 30 skill, so I think this one was 12. So if you're going cold arrow, you have a long ways before you can use the AoE reason. But she does gain use of Amazon bows and the plus to Amazon skills. So if you find a bow that's, plus 3 to skills, she'll get that bonus, which will apply to her skills. Act 2, Desert Mercenary, already mentioned that one. Nightmare and Hell difficulty now have all 6 different Aurora types available from the higher menu, instead of separating them out by 3 per difficulty. Normal is unchanged. So Hell and Normal used to have the same type, and the Nightmare would have a different type. So if you were in Hell difficulty and you wanted to change to something that only Nightmare had, you had to change your difficulty, hire your mercenary, and then go back to Hell. You no longer have to do that. It's a nice quality of life. Thorns, your combat that used to only be in Nightmare, but you now get in, you can hire in Hell difficulty as well. Thorns aura level scaling increased and will now continue scaling up beyond the highest level threshold up to maximum level. The Desert Mercenary is already popular, but we saw an opportunity to add some quality of life improvements by allowing players to hire all 6 different Aurora types in Nightmare and Hell difficulty, rather than having to switch modes. With the general improvements to Thorns, we wanted to improve the level scaling to make the Aurora Mercenary type more meaningful. So the Act 2 Mercenary didn't need much of a change. They just changed Thorns to match the Paladin skill. Act 3 Iron Wolf. Already mentioned that. Life baseline and scaling increased by about 25%. Now has life similar to the Rogue Archer. Defense baseline and scaling increased by about 40%. Now has defense closer to the Rogue Archer. Resistance baseline and scaling increased by about 20%. Now has the highest resistance baseline compared to other mercenaries. So those are definitely nice. Cold now cast Glacial Spike more often. Definitely nice. Glacial Spike level scaling increased. Swat Frozen Armor for Chillin' Armor. This one I wish they had left as Frozen Armor. He's not going to be getting hit by much, hopefully. So when he does get hit, you want them to be frozen, that way they can't keep hitting them. So I wish they'd kept the Frozen Armor. Fire, removed Inferno. Thank you. Added Firebolt. Increased chance of the Iron Wolf casting Fireball. Added Enchant. Now the Iron Wolf will cast Enchant on himself, which is completely useless. He does not use his sword. The player and nearby allies. Very nice, especially if you're playing melee. Lightning added static field. Very nice, though he doesn't use it often enough. Unless you teleport around, then he'll use it. So unless you're a sorceress, or you happen to have Enigma, it's not a whole lot of use. Charged bolt level scale and increase. Increased chance of the Iron Wolf casting lightning. Not bad. It sounds awesome, but you could still use a little bit of developer comments. The Iron Wolves are great elemental sorcerers, but we saw that they have been underperforming in higher difficulties. We improved their core stats so that they are more in line with other mercenaries, while also having a distinct advantage of having the best resistance values. For skills, we wanted to embrace their elemental fantasies, so we decided to give new flavorful utility skills to further incentivize reason to want to use those mercenary types. You're still not going to see a whole lot of Act 3 mercenaries, sadly. They're definitely improved, don't get me wrong, but you're going to see more Act 1, you'll still see Act 2, and you'll see Act 5. I'll go over their changes. Act 5, Barbarian Warrior. Can now gain plus Barbarian skill bonuses from gear, so they can now bear Barbarian helms. Already went over that one. Life baseline scaling increased. Now has the most life compared to other mercenaries. Defense baseline and scaling increased, and the scaling at higher levels was reduced. Now has the highest defense baseline compared to other mercenaries. Dual wielding. A new ferocious barbarian is available to hire from Volkek. These warriors cannot use two-handed swords, but they are well trained in the art of dual wielding. Utilizing the frenzy, taunt, and iron skin abilities, they lure enemies in and unleash a barrage of attack. You're gonna see a lot of these guys. These guys they're amazing. Properly equip them, they can actually take down Ubers. This is huge for a mercenary. You're gonna see a lot of these. Two-handed. Bash level scaling increased and will no longer be capped at level 80. Stun level scaling increased and will no longer be capped at level 80. Added battle cry. We wanted to give the barbarian warriors more identity while still maintaining his barbarian fantasy. So we decided to give him the battle cry skill as a new way for him to debuff enemies, which should prove to be useful utility for players. In addition, we wanted to increase his life and defense scaling to ensure that he is a tougher mercenary type. By adding a new dual-wielding barbarian mercenary, we hope to provide a powerful, fast-hitting mercenary that changes the status quo of a common mercenary choice among players. So the Act 5 Barbarian received the biggest changes, mainly because of the dual wielding. Next up is the Act 1 Rogue. I don't think she'll be used as much, but you should see at least a few more of them than you did previously. Act 3, you still won't see very much of them, sadly. They need a plus to skills as well. They can get a plus from the sorceress skills or something. That would be huge, but anyways, that changes for the mercenaries. Comment down below on what you think of them and which type you'll be using when ladder starts. Thank you. If you like what you saw, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And I hope to see you in the next video. Thank you, and goodbye.